Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the CEO of Cub Digital and an AI programming enthusiast. So in this video, we're going to cover AI tools that enhance developer productivity. We're going to cover things like IDE assistants, AI agents, chatbot tools, and project bootstrappers. We're going to look at the pros and cons of each tool and which category they fit into. Keep in mind that this classification system is flexible and some tools fit into multiple categories. Our goal here is to help you choose the right tool for the different type of tasks that you might encounter. So let's get into the video. Our first category is chatbots. So these chatbots are conversational AI tools that you interact with via text. So some examples are ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and DeepSeek. These tools are good at answering questions, troubleshooting errors, writing and fixing code on demand. So an example is you might ask for how a particular function works, and the chat tool is going to give you an answer on how to do that. So by this point, most people are familiar with ChatGPT, and what we're going to cover in this video is the Canvas feature. Now, this is really good for prototypes, and if you're just starting out with coding and you want to mock up a little idea and you're just looking to get started. So what we're going to do here, just to demonstrate it, is I'm going to start the recording, and I've got a chat thread that I've already started. Now, as you'll note, I asked it to make a working snake game, and then as I came down, it didn't do it as I wanted. I had to specify in Canvas mode. So when I click on Canvas mode, I can create it and it pops up. And once it's made the game, I can hit this preview button up the top right. And then after it loads for a couple of seconds, I've got a game working, which is pretty cool. And it's right in the browser. And as you see, when I hit the side, I lose the game. And, I could say, make the apples blue and add a score. So this is just adding things to the canvas, and you'll see this is showing you the power of it. It understands the code, it knows exactly where to make changes, and it will update automatically. Now you can also copy this code and put it into your own thing like Cursor, or you can just let this run while you're building it in the browser. And that's really one of the great pros about this. So now it's done that change, and I can see that the apples have changed color and I now have a score. So it's really cool for making things like that. So the pros of this feature, obviously, it's really super fast. It's great for small little prototypes. It's really cool as well if you're just starting coding and you're maybe doing an introduction course and you want to see how some functions work. It's also great if you're building a site and you just got one or two things you want to try. Now, the cons are basically that you're in their environment. It is quite slow compared to tools like Cursor. And so it's only really good for small little things and prototypes. Anything you want to move beyond that, there's a lot of other tools we've covered in this video. I do think it has its place in the space though, particularly if you're learning. My favorite feature is obviously just the little ideas that you have that you can whip together and you could show. And it's quite fun. Like in this case, Snake. I can be doing this on my phone and not at my computer, and I can have an idea. That's where I think it shines the best. So that's the Canvas feature by ChatGPT. So Claude Code is Anthropic's command line programming assistant that works autonomously in your terminal. It understands entire code bases, executes commands directly, and can write files and edit files for you. So I'm going to start the recording and show you how it works. So once you've got Claude Code installed, we can go to the terminal, and all you have to do to get it started is write Claude. It's then going to be in there. I just press 1 to start, but now I can write anything like create a new markdown file for me about what Claude Code does in this file. So it's nice because it's the command line tool, and it already understands what you're doing. You'll notice that it's really, really fast. While that's thinking though, the great thing about having a command line tool is that you can use it in any IDE. So here I've got PyCharm by JetBrains, and I can run Claude Code in a terminal here as well. So all I did, same thing, I just wrote Claude as a command, and then I've asked it to make me a financial CSV file and create a script to process it. So the benefit of that is that now I get all the rich features that I love about PyCharm, and I've got the context of having Claude Code there. I could also use it inside Cursor by making a new terminal and writing Claude. So the key thing to understand about this is it's an agent. It can access all your files, all your folders, read things. You have to give it permission to do that. but that makes it extremely powerful. So the things I love is that it's fast and one-shots many prompts. It's got a really nice to-do feature, so anytime you make a prompt, it makes a list of to-dos. You can use it inside these IDEs, as we've discussed. If you have the $20 plan for Claude, you get Claude Code included in that, so that's great. Now, some of the cons is that it's terminal only, and I personally found that quite intimidating when I was starting compared to things like Cursor. Took me about a week to get used to that. And the constant permission requests, and there's quite a bit of configuration you have to do when you start. I think it is worth persevering with, though, because ultimately the benefits outweigh the negatives. And then the other thing is, on large projects, you do have to watch. If you have big context windows, you can really burn through credits quickly. Ultimately, though, I'd really recommend you give this a go, especially the fact that you can put it in an IDE. That's a great win. For example, you can actually run Cursor in one tab on your right-hand side and Claude Code in your terminal at the same time on the same repo. So Google's Gemini CLI is an open source terminal-based AI agent with the industry's largest context window now at 1 million tokens. It handles coding tasks and codebase analysis, very similar to Claude Code. So to get started, it's pretty simple. You just go to the Gemini website, and then similar to Claude Code, if I just start a new terminal, and once I've installed it and just write Gemini, it's going to be available wherever I have a terminal. So that means I can also use Gemini in JetBrains, or I could use it in VS Code in any IDE. So I write Gemini, and then basically I'm away. So if I go over to my JetBrains over here, I've been running Gemini for a while, and I've basically just been asking it to build on this app. So this is really cool. So as you can see, I've got Gemini running down here in the terminal, but I can still access up the top right my other features like my journey and my AI chat. So in this case, I've asked it to create and tell me what this repo does and potentially add some additional features to it. And so Gemini's gone ahead and it's read the repo, it's created new files, and it's asked me for permission for things. So the pros of this is obviously that massive context window. If you have big code bases, you should give Gemini a go, and it just syncs pretty seamlessly to your Google account. The free tier is pretty awesome. It's got 60 requests per minute, although there's an asterisk there. At the moment, you can notice that you'll get rate limited quite a bit, which can be quite frustrating. But it's also open source, which is great. You can go and see the GitHub repo. And the other thing is that it's really nice. It's got this integrated Google search. So I found that's really cool when you get to ask the model just to go ahead and find things on Google and come back. You'll notice the speed when you're using it. Some of the cons of that, this is early days for Google, but you never count them out. So Gemini and the whole Google stack is something I keep paying attention to. But because it's early days, I find that it can be a little bit more slow and unreliable than Claude Code. And also, I find the rate limiting, even though it says that you get 60 requests, I find the rate limiting a little bit frustrating. But Google's notorious at giving you quite generous tiers of free things. So keep checking it. And I definitely recommend giving this CLI a go. The thing about these tools is they're so easy to try. And once you get your head around the terminal, you've got so much ability to just swap between them to suit your needs. And the fact that you can integrate to an IDE is absolutely awesome. DeepSeek is an open source AI model that rivals ChatGPT and Claude, but it comes at just 5% of the cost. Nebius Studio is a reliable hosting platform with OpenAI compatible APIs and an easy integration for models like DeepSeek. So I'm going to show you what that means. So if I go onto Nebius, studio.nebius.com, I'm presented at the top with all my different models and what they do. So I've got text to text, embeddings, text to image, safety guardrails, and vision. And then down here, I've got all the different models that I could play with, which is really great. They've got the things like the price, the quality, so up the tops, typically the better ones. And the thing about this price is that it is so much cheaper. All I have to simply do is copy this model ID and then come into my repo and paste that into my code. And this little prototype I've built shows you that we're basically directly integrating to this hosted DeepSeek model on Nebius. So I've asked a question, can you write a product requirements document for a financial dashboard? And It's gone away to the API and come back with basically a full response here of, breaking down what a product's required document contains and then running through a whole bunch of things for me. The thing that you'll find with this and why it's so great is because of the cost. When we're talking here, you'll be doing big requests, multiple of them, and then after a while, you will see that it's only charged you a few cents. That is a huge positive, particularly if you're working on an API. Some of the other positives is that it's actually got really good benchmarks. And I think over time, this is something you're going to keep coming back to. If you have pretty straightforward workflows where you kind of know that you don't need the very cutting edge model, but reliably you get good answers from, DeepSeek, then this is such a great alternative for your development process. I also really like that it's open source, it's got MIT licensing, and the other thing is that there's quite a good transparent thinking step breakdown when you run these API calls. Some of the cons are that it can be a little bit higher latencies, but that's not too bad so far. So if you're building at scale, it's something to watch. And, there is the Chinese filtering policies, and some of the time the smaller context window can catch up with you. But on the whole, that's comparing DeepSeek itself. Nebius Studio, all that it provides with all the different models, is a really good alternative. I had quite a lot of fun, and it opens your eyes to building tools that you might not have considered before because they were just simply too expensive. So this was something I was really glad to have found and have started to weave into the little prototypes that I build and the products that I have as well. So I really recommend you try this out.